All right. We got part six of Islam and the Arabs, trans-Sahara slave trade in Africa. We'll go right into it. Now, we recognize Europeans recognizing the crisis. The Europeans, major players in African slave trades themselves, began attempting to abolish the slave trade. In 1865, the United Nations put an end to it with the help of many revolts, internal pressure, and trade disruptions. Yet the Arab slave trade remained deeply entrenched, surviving well into the 20th century. Even after the formal abolition of the trade in the 20th century, its effects linger. Some regions of North and East Africa still bear the marks of the history of deep-seated racial hierarchies and lingering discrimination against people of African descent. The echoes of the brutal past remain evident in the structural inequalities that persist across societies, once shaped by the relentless movement of human lives as mere commodities. Be right back. Okay, look, listen, we'll sum all this up. Saudi Arabia didn't officially outlaw slavery until 1962. Mauritania didn't outlaw it until 1981, but reports say it's still slavery going on in Mauritania right now. 90,000 blacks still live as inherited slaves. 500 more living in the form of modern slavery in Mauritania right now. To this date, the nation is ruthlessly dominated by an Arabic-speaking Arab Berber elite who self-identify as white. Yeah, the Berbers were another tribe, came down, the Arabs conquered the Berbers, and then that's why they identify as white. When you look at the Census Bureau, what does white say? Of regions of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. That's a whole nother subject right there. But if we keep on going, Mauritania still got slaves being sold. Still got slaves. Outside from outright slave systems in countries like Sudan, Iraq, and Libya, Afro-descendant communities continue to face systemic discrimination and marginalization. In Libya, a modern-day slave market operates in the shadows of political instability. Since the fall of Gaddafi in 2011, African migrants traveling through Libya in hopes of reaching Europe have been kidnapped, detained, and sold as slaves in open-air markets. In 2017, CNN released an undercover investigation showing African men being auctioned off for as little as $400. The revelation sparked global outrage, but reports indicate the human trafficking networks remain active. Still active right now. Be right back. Then we go look at the outright racism that the Arabs doing to the Africans they enslaved. In Iraq, the Afro-Iraqi community, descendants of enslaved East Africans brought to the region centuries ago, continue to face exclusion from political and economic opportunities. Similar situation exists in Sudan, where the historical divide between Afro-Sudanese and Arab-Sudanese populations has fueled long-standing racial tensions. The Darfur conflict, the Janjaweed militia, and the Arab-led force targeting black African communities in what the United Nations call genocide. Meanwhile, across North Africa, Qatar, and the Middle East, Africans are considered as cheap labor or domestic helpers to wealthy families. Be right back. As we go on and look at this research, today the descendants of this enslaved that were of those enslaved and their ancestors still grapple under this echoes of past marked by economic degradation, social fragmentation, and enduring racial hierarchies. I mean, you talking about facing some stuff going on. But I want to get to Mr. David Livingston, who was the English abolitionist, who went over there and saw these horrible things being done to enslaved Africans by the Arabs. Right back. I want to read exactly what he said. Be right back. This is Mr. David Livingston. As I said, in his letters he wrote home in 1870, quote, in less than I take to talk about, these unfortunate creatures, 84 of them, went in their way through the village where we were. Some of them, the elders, were women from 20 to 22 years of age, and they were youths from 18 to 19, but a large majority was made up of boys and girls, 7 years to 14. A more terrible scene than these men, women, and children I do not think I ever came across. To say that they were emaciated would not give you an idea of what human beings can undergo under certain circumstances. Each of them had his neck in a large forked stick weighing between from 30 to 40 pounds and a 5 or 6 foot long, cut with the fork and the end of it where the branches of a tree sprout out. The women were tethered together with bark thongs, which are of things the most cruel to be tied with. Of course, they are soft and supple when first stripped off the trees, but a few hours in the sun make them about as hard as iron round packed cases. The little children were fastened by thongs to their mothers. As we passed along the paths which these slaves had traveled, I was shown a spot on the bushes where a poor woman, the day before unable to keep up the march and likely to hinder it, was cut down by the axe of one of the slave drivers. We went on further and were shown a place where a child lay. It had been recently born. Its mother was unable to carry it from debility and exhaustion. So the slave trader had taken the little infant by its feet and dashed his brains out against one of the trees and thrown it in there. We got to be honest about what went on here. I know a lot of Muslim brothers over the years. I got a lot of respect for them on certain things, but they never talk about this history. We got it right here, brother, from the Smithsonian, from Africans themselves. AfricaRebirth.com. We got the history. We got to be honest about what you want us to worship people who did this. I'm hard on the Christians. I'm gonna be equally hard on y'all, man. This is brutal. It's brutal. It's brutal. So I thank you all for listening. Please look up this history. It's important to know. Each one teach one, each one reach one. Hotel.